Hello and welcome to today's video. Just getting set up here. Make sure everything looks okay before I get started. Should work. Alright, so today I'm going to make some new Wonky Weirdlings. Started these guys last year, and they're kind of an evolution of my one-eyed blobs. I'm doing a larger little monster, and I was selling them at conventions. I always had intentions of putting them in my Etsy shop, just never got around to it. So today I got around to it. And you can find them in my Etsy shop. They're in blind bags like this, but I sell them 4 at a time with free shipping. So try to make it worth it for you guys to order them and still, not take a hit on the shipping myself. So that's why I do it that way. I've got several made up, but I thought, well, I'll go ahead and make some more. I haven't made any for a while. I thought it'd be fun to do them on a live stream. And that way you can see the process, and I will do, like, each one will be a complete sculpt and then move on to the next one. So if you're only on the stream for part of it, you can actually see the complete creation process of one of these guys. So I'll set these up here for reference, get this out of the way. I've got some glow-in-the-dark clay for the eyes. I've got this multi-pack of Primo Sculpey that I'm going to use for the main part of the body. And then I also have my little pre-baked teeth that I can use on them. Hey Delaney, how are you? I'm going to set aside the black for the eyes. So the Wonky Weirdlings take roughly an ounce of clay, which these are all in an ounce. So if I want to do one that's multicolored, I can just kind of divide it up that way. I'll start with these two. Unlike my other live streams, I didn't really prep my clay because I'm going to be working with so many different colors. So I figured I would just start it and get going. So the stuff seems not really soft, but it's not too firm, so I shouldn't have too much of an issue with it. And I only have to do a little bit at a time. So when you do those really large projects, then you've got to mix up a bunch. That's what's really time consuming. I could spend an hour mixing clay before a project sometimes, and I don't think that'll make a very entertaining live stream. So I'll start off with these two, and I will make a couple out of here. Get this opened up. That we'll set aside for the next one. This one will have a little more of the, or a little less of the yellow. Bring these guys forward, I guess, so that way people can see them. Of course, he's not going to want to stay put. There, that should work. So once I have each color softened up, I will mix them together, getting like a marble effect, kind of how these guys have. So I want to swirl it together a little bit more. So when I made the Wonky Weirdlings originally, I wanted to have a little bit of a recipe for them so I could recreate them and make them all about the same size. Lots of times when I resculpt something, even if it's something that, you know, kind of varies from sculpt to sculpt, I end up making them larger. So I didn't want to get in the habit of that, just to keep the materials about the same. So I use 1 sheet of foil for them, and an ounce of clay, and then just whatever I need for the eyes and the teeth. And you can see there, after I cover that with clay, they're going to be pretty similar to the size. And if I have extra clay left over, that's fine. I'll just set that aside. I'd use that for blobs or something some other time, because sometimes they won't take all of this clay. But I usually want to have a little bit left over from the initial covering of the foil, because I want to have some if I want to add any features. Like this guy has lips, and this little guy has this bottom jaw area. So I want to make sure I have some colors to match if I want to do stuff like that. Just getting this spread out, you can see it has a nice marbled pattern to it. Get a little more spread out. So then I'm just going to go through or go over the foil. So I've got it covered. Now I want to cut off this excess. Then I'm just going to smooth it all out. And with these guys, I do poke a hole in it. You can see here there's some air trapped in there, and sometimes that'll expand when it bakes, and there's always air trapped in that foil. And since I am covering that foil completely, I want to make sure that it's got a opening for that air to escape so I don't distort my sculpt. Clean up these specks. What do I want for the top of this guy? And I want to do a little bit bigger eyes. I have that one ball tool out, but I have some different size ones. So I'm going to mark where his eyes are going to be roughly. I think I'll do 2 eyes on this one. I have done some, or at least one that had 3 eyes. But I'll try some different ones today. Now to find a little tooth. I'm just going to give him 1 tooth for this one. And I'm going to take a little bit of my clay left over to make him a bottom jaw similar to that one. This spread out, wrapping that around, And I'm going to take my finger and smooth it in, blend it in with the clay that's already there. I'm going to take this ball tool, I'm going to do a little bit of an indentation there, just to make that lip a little more pronounced. Now I'm just taking my needle tool and I'm going to add some texture to his lip. Just adding little kind of ridges on it. Something I could do with the scraps, if I make a lot of these guys and I have about an ounce left over, I can make one using all the scraps and have a lot of different colors in there. Give his chin a little indentation. That should work for that one, just kind of a basic look to it. I'm going to clean up my hands now. And the next thing I'm going to do is add the eyes. So I'm going to soften up some of the glow in the dark, and then take the black and add the pupil. What's good about the glow in the dark, it's Sculpey 3, which is actually a lot softer than Fimo. I don't really like Sculpey 3 as much, but it is nice to work with when you've got to mix a lot of colors and it's not as hard on the hands. So I just pulled a little bit of clay off there, pulled out into a ball. Do the same thing for the other eye. Doesn't even matter to me if they're the same size. These guys they're Wonky Weirdlings, so they can have these different looks to them. So I want to make sure these eye sockets are big enough so the eyes will kind of drop down in there. And it's fun to see a lot of these guys on the shelf too, since their eyes glow in the dark. It's a little creepy when the lights go out. All these little beady eyes glowing. All right, so that's good on that. Glow in the dark doesn't really transfer to the fingers, so I don't need to clean my hands up to do the black. Just gonna open that a little bit. And I'll just roll out a small snake of this, keep it up in the corner, so when I go to do the eyes, I can just cut a little bit off and don't have to worry about reworking it each time. Just roll out my snake of clay for the eyes. And then just cut off a couple little sections. Again, not worried about if they're the same size. have those, rolled them into like little balls. And if anything's ever hard to pick up because it's so small, you can use the tip of your needle tool. Just set that on there, and then I can press it in with my finger. That'll smooth it out and get it so it's nice and attached. So when it bakes, it'll stay on there really good. So there is the first Wonky Weirdling for today. I'm going to go ahead and mix up these colors and do the next one. So I'll soften this up. Hi Jessica, how are you? Just getting started today. I'm making some Wonky Weirdlings, so I thought this would be fun to do something that I make multiples of, so if somebody comes on later on, or if they're only, have a little bit of time to watch it, they can still watch the complete creation process. Plus I added these to my Etsy shop today in blind bags, so I figured, it'd be good to have some more on hand. Right now I'm just conditioning these two colors to go on the foil. I don't want to swirl it as much as I did with the first one. I want each one to have their own unique look. So I'm going to go ahead and shape this out, and then I'll roll out my foil ball for the Wonky Weirdling. I am noticing I'm getting a lot of little specks on my wax paper. I don't necessarily want to change it out for each one. I'm going to try to keep my area as clean as possible though. Another sheet of foil. Roll that into a ball. And I think on this guy I didn't make his air hole yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that before I forget. Just do it into the back. Make sure that goes all the way through the clay into the foil, and then take that out. Won't even be noticeable unless you turn them around. So I kind of flip these around, see which one I like better, and I do like this one for the outer. I'm just going to cover that. That. Make sure all my foil's covered. And then cut off the excess. So I did expose a little bit of the foil there, cutting that off, but that's okay because I've got enough on here. I can smooth it in, cover up that area. Kind of like that look to him. It looks just like a big old lump. And I think I'll have this be the back. Cover up this with the facial features. So I'm going to look to see what teeth I want to use on it. I'll probably need to make some more teeth up so I have enough for tomorrow's live stream. Give him a couple little teeth down there. Just going to smooth the top here a little bit. Do 3 indentions for eyes. See what we have right there. We have a similar mouth look, but with the 2 teeth. Like to do them a little bit off to the side. Now I need to take some of this leftover clay and make him that lower jaw. Just smoothing this out. I'm going to have it so he's got that lower lip. Going to center it underneath those eyes. And then I'm going to go from the bottom and smooth that into our base. Should work. Hi Dree, how are you? Just making some Wonky Weirdlings today. Got one done here. These are 2 I've had made up before. Just want to have them there as examples. I've got one done already. Working on the second one. Don't really have a number I'm going to try to get to today, just whatever works. So that's what I've got so far. Tree says, my son just fell asleep. Oh, it's good nap time. Or is it bedtime? I don't remember where you're at, if it's nighttime for you. Ah, it's night here, okay. After I said that, I thought maybe it is. Okay, so it is shifted a little bit under the eyes, but they're wonky, it's okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my hands and do the eyes. I feel like I should be talking while I'm doing this. I just don't know what to say about cleaning my hands. Dree says, the other guys are looking wonky and weird. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to take our glow-in-the-dark clay. Just get some tore off for the 3 eyes. You can tell I've already got specks of other things in there, but I think they'll be okay. I'll have to mix it up on my next one and use some of the pointed teeth. I like to do as much variety on these characters and my blobs as I can. Dree says, tomorrow we're going to do some cleaning here. My son wants to make some robots. The weather is going to be very nice, but we're supposed to stay in and around my house, maybe some yard clean. Yeah, something fun I've seen with people making robots, just to give you an idea. If you have any like extra nuts and bolts, that's always fun to use that for like facial features or, you know, limbs or just added little details. You'll have to ask your son tomorrow if he wants me to make a video of a live stream of me making a robot. I would be more than happy to do that. Be a lot of fun. But tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be doing my Let's Make a Monster live stream. So hopefully people can join in on that. I have a lot of fun with those. Dree says I make them with wood and nuts and bolts with him. Awesome. I don't know whatever happened to it, but years ago, my dad had made me a robot out of wood that was pretty cool. It was like, he even like bolted on the arm, so he was somewhat posable. I've also seen the robots that people make, robots out, like robot lamps out of pipes and stuff. Jessica says a robot would be really cool. Dree says I'll post one on my Facebook. Awesome. I'm just doing the pupils for this one. He's going to be kind of looking all over with these eyes. Dree says he won't be able to watch it live. He's in bed by then. Well, it wouldn't, yeah. I mean, I could do them at a different time. I could do one, you know, like maybe even next Saturday, like first thing in the morning for me if you want me to. But she says we could watch it together later. Yep, that's fine too. But if you want, I could plan on doing a robot one on Saturday. Just let me know. Shoot me a message or something. I'm fine with either way. And at the moment, I'm trying to figure out my schedule, but the Sunday one's remaining at 2 and the other ones are kind of random. So let's see. Tree says, cool, he doesn't speak English though. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for colors. Tree asks, how's your Dutch? I know no Dutch. I think it would be a lot of fun to know another language, but sadly I do not. I'm going to do the same thing where I do these in 2/3 and 1/3 roughly. Dree says, art with Andrew in Dutch is Kunst met Andrew. Is that right? Or am I just butchering it? So I'm going to set this aside for the second one in this group. Soften these up for the next one. I'm just going to remove my little notifications. The only bad thing is I use my phone to watch the chat and also make sure that my video looks okay. Everything's kind of staying in place. And when I get notifications, it's covering up half of that. If I was smart, I would turn those off when I'm live streaming. I don't have too many things that give them. they still get in the way. Dree says, I'll shut up, let's get clay. And Dree, you can talk as much as you want. That's why I like doing the live stream, so I can chat with you guys. It's more entertaining for me too, so I can have someone to talk to while I'm sculpting and have some fun seeing what everybody else is doing. Kujin says, hi, Andrew. Hi, Kujin, how are you? Great to see you on today. Just getting this mixed up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my foil, shape that, and every time I remember when I grab my foil, I need to do an air hole. So I can make sure I did that on the three-eyed one. I'm just going to soften this up and spread that out. Yeah, Dree says I forget air holes. I do too. Lots of times I don't have an issue with them. I've noticed if I do something that has two pieces, like if I add a head with the wire, it doesn't quite seal it enough that I don't have an issue. Kujin says, I thought you said Sunday was going to be your next live stream, Andrew. That's my scheduled one. That's at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. This one was just kind of a last minute deal. I did one last night too, just because I wanted to try something out. So a lot of these random ones, if I have something I want to make, I go ahead and do it live so I can, you know, get some watch time, chat with you guys, all that stuff. But yeah, my Sunday one will still be at 2, and that's the Let's Make a Monster one. Just doing some Wonky Weirdlings today. So I thought it'd be fun to share those with you guys. I did the original video on my YouTube channel when I first did them, and I showed how I did the first 3, and then I did a bunch after that. But I added them to my Etsy shop today, so I'm just building up my inventory of them and hoping for the best. Kujin says, ah, that is cool. Kujin says, nice, dude, thank you. So, got my clay to cover this guy. Kind of did this one a little bit different on how I'm wrapping it around. I don't really have a method to my madness here. Cut off probably a little too much there. And another little splotch. Dree says, in the meantime, I'm trying to find a robo photo for Facebook, but I am here. It's all good. I appreciate you guys coming on today for this random stream. Definitely have a lot of fun chatting with everybody. I got this covered. I'm just gonna roll it around some, smooth it out. And some of these guys, I've done textures on them, so I might do that on 1 or 2 of them today. Gonna want to just look around, see what will make the good view for the front. Kind of press it down so it has a little flat surface, so it doesn't roll around for people. Got my extra right here. Trying to figure out how many eyes I want to do for this one. do a center eye there. And do 4 smaller eyes. And I want to do some little fangs. I think what I'll do is I'm going to set this aside here. I'm not for sure if I'm going to use that one. I'm going to cut this one in half. Just indent it a little bit. Try to find a smaller ball tool to use. I know I had one last night that would work perfect. Yeah, this one works. Gonna make little indentions for the fangs. Dree says, I think I posted a Facebook thing on your Facebook thing. I'm not really into Facebook, can you tell? Okay, I will definitely check that out after the stream. So I want to cover up, do a kind of a top lip and cover up the tops of those teeth. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my clay mixture, roll it out to do a lip. This is going to be too big for what I want here. So I'll cut off some excess. And then, yep, still too big. And that's the thing with clay, sometimes you got to keep adjusting till you're happy with the result. And that's totally okay. Dree asked, do I ever make ears? I haven't made them on the Wonky Weirdlings, no. They go in blind bags. Oh, like human ears just in general? I mean, I've done characters with ears. Most of my human characters are kind of cartoony. So they just kind of do that half circle ear, not too much detail. Sometimes I'll do a little more on these guys, like some bumps and stuff that stick out. I try to not make them stick out too much, so they're all around the same size and they'll fit in the blind bags. Just going to go in behind this tooth. I want to bring that mouth out a little bit. And then I'm just adding a little bit of a texture. So you can kind of see how that guy looks right now. And then although I'm not sculpting a lower lip, I am going to just rub this ball tool across here to kind of indent it. And then it'll kind of hint at that. You can also take my needle tool, just add a little bit of texture with some ridges around this lip. All right, Time to clean up my hands and do some more eyes for this guy, or do his eyes. Should print off a little sign that says washing hands or something like that, so if somebody pops in, they don't think it's just all this, just a random live stream of my desk. Kujin asks, Andrew, have you done any more drawing? No, I have not. My friend Axton, who did if you ever watch my edited videos, he's done all the digital art for that. I was talking to him yesterday morning, and he sent me all kinds of tips that will definitely help me out. So I will probably work on some and maybe do like a little video of the next thing. Probably try to do, like I said, one of those a week. And it's kind of will force me to make sure I keep doing it. If I give myself at least a slight schedule with it. So I'm just got my glow in the dark clay. Jessica asks, I watched Onward with my kids yesterday. Have you seen it yet? I have not. It looks really cute, but I still haven't seen Toy Story 4, and there's a few other Pixar ones that are on my list. I have watched several others. I've watched the first 3 Toy Stories, both Incredibles, the first Monsters, Inc. So I think this will work for the large eye. So Jessica, what's your overall opinion of Onward? Like, how would you rank it, or... Dree says, I love Monsters, Inc. Could definitely sculpt some of those characters sometime. They're definitely similar to my style. Gonna open up these eyes a little bit more. Don't have a lot of room with that one underneath, but might have to go a little bit smaller in that center lower one, so I can drop the eye in there. Whose idea was it to put one right here? Jessica says it's good, referring to Onward. It's on Disney Plus. I liked it. I did see they just added it. I noticed earlier it was on that early access on Amazon Prime. So that was cool that they added it so fast to Disney Plus, because I do have a year's subscription to that. I got it for The Mandalorian, and I thought they were going to be adding like the Marvel shows a lot faster, but that was just me not paying attention. But there's still quite a bit on there that's worth watching, and I haven't watched all of like Clone Wars, and there's some different animated stuff I want to see. Alright, so there's the eyes. Just put this up, grab the black for the pupils. Dree says the green guy looks like a superhero monster. Due to the orange band going across his face. So it sounds like it's his mask. I've made a couple superhero monsters. Like, I did a Batman monster, and then I did a Greatest American Hero monster. And it's one of those things that I thought, oh, I'm going to do a bunch of these, and I have more ideas than time, so it hasn't happened yet. But that's something I haven't done one as a video, so I could do it as a video and see what people think. Jessica says, I think Coco was better, but it's hard to beat Coco. I haven't seen Coco, so maybe I should watch Coco first. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Just focusing on getting these on here. Dree says Coco was a tearjerker. Well, I don't know if I need that. So there's our finished third Wonky Weirdling for today. Set him aside. So now this will be for my next one. Jessica says Coco is far my favorite Pixar movie. Dree says, is that the wrong word? Like, it was very emotional. No, that's the correct word. I just don't need an emotional movies. You know, they're a little hard on me. But I know, I mean, Pixar's kind of a master at some of that stuff too. Even like Up, I mean, just that, what was like 3-minute section with him and his wife, it was very touching. Just softening up this orange clay. Tree says, oh yes, it was too much for me. All right. I got a lot of little specks here too. I'm going to clean those off. Should help a little bit. Tree says, it's still beautifully done, but I cried a lot. All right, this swirled in. Jessica says, all Pixar movies make me cry like a baby. Oh, and of course, I forgot, as I'm looking at it, to do the air hole on that one. Dree asked, do you know Mary and Max? No. Who or what is Mary and Max? Set that down for a second. Dree says it's a stop motion movie, Australian. Oh, that's definitely sounds like something I would like. I'll have to remember that. Some of my biggest inspiration for making creatures is Ray Harryhausen, and he did all the stop motion animation for like the old Sinbad movies, and there's some old fairy tales that he did that I've actually have on DVD but haven't watched yet. Andrea, I will definitely check it out. Do you know if it's streaming anywhere or is it on YouTube? Tree says, what's that name? I don't know. Let me check it out. I don't know what name you're asking about. All right, I've got that spread out. Grab my next sheet of foil. Oh, the stop motion guy, Ray Harryhausen. In fact, you guys were talking about Monsters Inc. earlier. They eat at a restaurant called Harryhausen's, and that is like a tribute to Ray Harryhausen because he did so many of the monsters. He also worked on Mighty Joe Young, which is an older, like, giant ape movie similar to King Kong, and that's a really good movie, the original, not the remake. Andrew says, I'll check out where you can watch Mary and Max for you. Thank you. Alright, so I'm getting my foil covered for the next Wonky Weirdling. I think the next ones I do, I'm going to try something a little bit different. This one here is kind of splitting there, but I'll just smooth it in place. I'm going to cut off some excess. And I think I'm going to make that the bottom, or cut it off, even though it does have kind of a neat pattern. It's fun when you're swirling these colors around. You can get some really neat, interesting patterns with it. Tree says you can watch on Amazon. Excellent, I have that. We have Amazon Prime, so that'll work perfect. Just have to remember Mary and Max until the end of the live stream, so I can go and add it to the watch list. So this guy's going to be a little bit shorter, but he's kind of spread out more. He should be a Cyclops. Give him a nice big eye socket there. How do I want to do his mouth? Dree says it's with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Toni Collette. I think I'm going to give him a little bit of an overbite. This is probably going to be too long. I'm going to cut this piece in half. It's really nice about that when I bake this clay, it's really easy to cut with an X-Acto knife. There's no cracking. This works out perfect. So that should work right there. I don't know if I want to give him a second tooth or not, or just that one. I think we'll just go with one with this guy. Now I'm just going to flatten out a piece to use for the upper lip. So you can kind of see what I'm doing there. I'm going to smooth that in. I feel like this guy needs a little more though. Not for sure what yet. Add some details to his lip. It's almost too small. Dre says, I can't buy from you via Etsy, but I understood we can contact you from overseas to make it happen. Yeah, shoot me a message, because then I could inquire with the post office to see what it would take. I don't even know if we're doing, if there's overseas shipping right now. If there's not, we can definitely work something out later. Etsy's it's just easier for me, to do things case by case instead of trying to set it up for all over, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of sucks because I'd love to do a international giveaway, but I was reading the terms with YouTube, and you have to follow the rules of the country the item is going to, which means if I want to make it worldwide, I'm gonna have to know like everybody's rules, which would be impossible for me. So I'd definitely like to do a live stream maybe every once in a while, and say, hey, watch me make this, and a random winner will be chosen at the end of the video and stuff. Dree says, yeah, it doesn't have to be now, but I'd like to contribute. I understand. I greatly appreciate it. And honestly, Dree, I mean, you guys watching my chats or my live streams and watching my videos, that really does help a lot. I know a lot of YouTubers say that, but they mean it, because YouTube's all about watch time. So if you guys enjoy my stuff and you like to watch it, that helps me out a lot. So thank you. I want to add a little detail to this one. Look at that, give him a little bit of a smug or a little smile there. I think that definitely helped him. Gives him a little more character. I like these guys to have a lot of character to them. I mean, they're Wonky Weirdlings. They can't be boring. He's like, oh. Now, we talked about ears earlier, and I don't necessarily want to do that, but I'm going to do some couple bumps on the top of his head. It just feels like he needs more. So I'm going to roll out a couple of little blobs of clay. And then I'm going to get in here and smooth this with the ball tool first, get that piece attached. Dree says, of course, what I like about your videos, and I really do not mean to offend, is that you aren't spiffy and shiny and over choreographed. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Yeah, I just like to sculpt. And I try to put a little more effort, not say effort, that doesn't sound right. Try to, I spend a little more time obviously with the edited videos, and I want to give people, the best product I can, but I think there's plenty of content out there that is so quick and so fast and so flashy. And one of the things I remember from when I first started YouTube, I watched a influencer on Think Media, and he said, different is better than better. And that's, to me, it's like I can be different. I am different. Everybody's different, but I don't follow the trends. I just do what I like to do. And I think being natural and doing what I want to do, and if there's, people out there that like my stuff, incredible, that's great. And if I can offer something that isn't flooding the channel, even better. Dree says, amen, brother. Thank you. So yeah, I like how those little little bumps are. They're kind of like where maybe even horns would be, or a type of ear. He's a wonky weirdling. He doesn't need explanation. And lots of times I sculpt stuff and kind of, you know, the viewer can decide however you want to interpret it. Dre says those nubbins are cute. Thank you. So let's get him his big eyeball. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just do a little texture on the lip before I do that. He says, like, his horns haven't grown in yet. Yeah, they're just maybe the wonky weirdlings are a type of baby monster. All right, go ahead and clean up again. So I can get his Cyclops eye done. So speaking of Cyclopses, if you guys, I was talking about the old Sinbad movies. If you guys have watched any of those, there's one of them that has an incredible looking Cyclops. Absolutely love how he looks. And that's something that'd be fun to sculpt too. You can see how much comes off there. Kujin says, back from getting food, looking great, Andrew. Thank you. We've already had lunch, but I'm starting to get hungry again. What kind of food did you get, Kujin? Did you go to the grocery store, or did you go through a drive-thru somewhere? I know all our lobbies are closed here. All right, so I've got my glow-in-the-dark clay. Roll out a nice sized ball for its eye. So that should, yeah, I'm gonna just open up that eye socket just a little bit more. Kujin says, made some fish fingers and chips. Nice. So I'm just going to put some pressure on that. Get that to kind of sit in there. Alright, so now I just need to take some of the black clay and make a pupil. Since his eye is so big, I'm going to go take a little bit bigger piece. Just roll that out. This one I'm going to flatten a little bit before I put it on there. Goes like a little speck. See, this guy, he kind of started out and I thought he was going to be kind of blah compared to my other ones, so I took a little extra time, and I think the extra details definitely enhanced him. So bring him up to you guys. All right. Give him his air hole. Kujin says, super cute, Andrew. Thank you. All right, I've got some silver and some gold here. So I think I will use that and make a couple more. I like swirling the metallics together. How about some spots on him? On the metallic one or the one that I already did? Tree says, oh wow, haven't used that yet. Nasreen? Is that how you say it? Hi, Nasreen. The big-eyed one. Well, I like to do the spots on ones that don't have like the swirls. So I probably won't on that one. I could do a gold one with silver spots and a silver one with gold spots. You want me to try something like that? But I'm definitely open to doing some spotted ones. Pigeon says that would be cool. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a little bit of silver to put on the gold one. And do the same thing. Cut off a little bit of the gold to put it on the silver one. Keep those up there. So I'll start with the silver one. It's pretty firm compared to some of the other colors. If you've ever worked with polymer clay, for some reason certain colors are firmer than others. At least that's been my experience, and that's with Primos. Dree says, have you ever used silver or gold Fimo? No, I haven't used Fimo for years. I did it originally, and then I got out of clay, and then I've been doing this consistently about 10 years now, and I started with Sculpey 3, was having some issues with it, and so I upgraded to the Primo, and I've kind of stuck with that. I do want to show you guys something. I have a video on my channel, but if you haven't seen it, I did make some metallic blobs using the metallic clay. So I did like different golds and rolled it together, and silver for the eyes with black. Now these guys, I sanded them and glossed them. I think I glossed them a couple times, and I don't know how it's coming across on the live stream, but they definitely are shinier than just if you just gloss them. So I thought that would be a lot of fun for like a metallic thing. And that's something I could try too if I do a robot. But I would have to do that after it's baked, so I could do kind of a stream of making the robot and then another quick look stream after I'm all done with that. So I'll just soften up this silver. Got a few specks that came off of it. Need to start having, I mentioned this before, I think, a little notepad so I can take some notes. I need to remember Mary and Max and try to do a live stream of a robot next Saturday. Like I said, I can do it Saturday morning here, and if you guys want to watch it live, that's great. Dree, if he doesn't want to watch it live, it'll be up on my channel. So either way, there's definitely no commitments with ideas you guys give me. I just like to try new things. Speaking of which, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she says she always drives by this tree, and the way it looks, it reminds it's kind of like a kidney, the way the shape is, and then it has the trunk coming down. And that instantly gave me the idea that it'd be fun to do some tree wall hangings. But I thought, what if I did one that was a tree, and the branches formed a heart, and then I could have the branches kind of write the letters family, for spell out family in it. Kujin says, I like watching these live because it's fun chatting with everyone as the stream goes on. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with it too, Kujin, and I'm glad other people enjoy it. It's nice to get input, ideas. It's just a lot of fun. Kujin says, the tree idea sounds cute idea. Thank you. I did go ahead and write that down in I have a idea book in my cave. Tree says, I agree with Kujin, we're a little community. Yes, I think it's great that during these times, we can have different opportunities. I went on Nick Knack's live stream last night. He's a toy collector, and he was on one of my streams before. And I went on there and kind of chatted, collectibles and stuff like that. So it's fun to catch different live streams and chat with people. Yeah, Adri, I have a man cave. I have my art room down in our basement, and then I have my man cave, and then my wife has an art room down here too. And I am very thankful for my cave and my art room since I'm home a lot. Tree says, I have a mom attic. That's awesome. Kujin says, that is so cool. Thanks. Nope, I play a lot of video games and watch movies and stuff, so I have all that stuff in my man cave. You can see that silver, and even the silver when it's not marble with somebody, that metallic clay kind of has these different lines in it. Kind of makes for a neat look to it. Dree says, now with the quarantine, I also have a mom dining table. Kujin asks, what type of games? Lately, I am playing Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. That's it's kind of a Castlevania type if you're not familiar with it. Kind of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I'm also playing Doom Eternal, but also like the Zelda games, Mario games, pretty much anything except for sports games. And I don't really get into like Grand Theft Auto or like Call of Duty. Play a lot of the fighting games like Street Fighter, Samurai Showdown. Dree says, my work and crafts are overflowing. I get that. Dree also asks, do you play board games too? Yeah, we do play some, like board games and tabletop games, that nature. Haven't done any for a little while. We played Munchkin. That's a lot of fun. I have an old board game that I really like, and it's called Talisman. And they've got newer versions of that. Dree says, yes, Munchkin, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Kujin says, I used to go over to my mates and play board games. Awesome. So there is the silver. We have a lot of Munchkin fans here. I'm also a comic collector, and I would like to use some of my free time now to catch up on reading some comics, but I've been playing too much video games. I'm just getting this foil covered with the silver. I'm going to smooth that out. I have some extra silver that I cut off. It's almost starting to remind me of the liquid metal Terminator from Terminator 2. Just kind of this blob of metal. So I'm going to add the facial details first, and then I'll add the spots and then the eye, but I'll do the socket first. I mean, I'll do the socket before I do any of that too. That'll be part of the facial details. Yep, T1000 was the name. Yep. Tree says it was really, really nice. When you have a kid, you imagine all the cool things you want to share with them. Now my son is getting to the age where we're going to really start doing that. That's awesome. Yeah, my 2 kids are in college, and they live a state away from me, and I went and saw them last month, kind of before everything got crazy, and we got to play some games together. So I'm glad I had that opportunity before we got into the whole quarantine thing. All right, so I've got kind of a shape I want. Dree says, what? She says, I never thought you'd have college age kids. Yes, I do. I think we'll go with 2 eyes with this guy. I think I'll put them close together. And there's one of them now. Hopefully that's okay. I can say that, Delaney. Didn't know you were still on even. She says he's old. But she is nice enough to come on my live streams and help me out. Oh, she definitely won't deny that I'm a big kid. Neither will my wife, so. All right, let's see. What kind of teeth do I want to do for this guy? Got these kind of teeth have a little more texture on them. I can kind of put these as kind of an underbite, kind of separate them more than I did the other ones. I like to just keep each one different. Getting these placed on there. All right, I like that. I'll go ahead and take a little more of the silver clay, build that up, and then I'll start adding the spots, and then I can do the eyes. So I've got just a little section I'm going to use for the lower jaw. Kind of like the pattern on this side a little bit better. My whole family is very encouraging of my art. I greatly appreciate that. Also very understanding. All right, I like how that looks. I'm going to go ahead, use the ball tool to kind of smooth this in. Then I'll go over with my fingers to even out everything. The ball tool just really works to kind of, I don't want to say tear the clay, but just kind of pull it more than if I just take my finger and get in there a little bit deeper. Amelia says, hashtag essential. Hi, Amelia. How are you? All right, kind of see what this guy's looking like so far. Give it a little bit of an indentation here. Amelia says, good, how are you? Your art is amazing. Aw, thank you. Dree says he's a robot monkey quality to him. Yeah, he does. He does look like the old little gorilla or monkey. Amelia says, thanks for sharing. You're welcome. That's the fun of me doing the art. I don't, I enjoy doing stuff and I do stuff for myself, but I also, like to share stuff and hopefully inspire people. I love to see other people's art. All right, let's get him some spots. So I'm just going to soften up some of this gold clay, and then I'll roll it into a snake. Cut off some pieces, roll those into balls, and then add them as spots, very similar to how I add the pupils on them. All right. Amelia says, you've definitely inspired me to make some D&D goblins and trolls. Awesome. I love goblins and trolls. I love the trolls in Lord of the Rings. I like the art style of the movies. Towards the end here, I'm cutting these pieces a little bit bigger so I can have some bigger spots too. So I'm just going to roll these up into some balls. PStev007, hello. Hello, how are you? Anybody new to the chat or the live stream right now? I'm making my Wonky Weirdlings. And so I thought these would be fun to do because I could do several in a stream. So people that can't stay for the whole thing or, come on after it starts can still see the creation process of one of them or all of them if you're able to be here for the whole thing. And this video will be up on my channel after it's done streaming, so if you want to go back and watch any of it that you missed. Oh, dropped a spot. PStev007 says, do they all have names yet? No, I haven't ever named my Wonky Weirdlings just because I make so many of them. I will plug my Etsy shop. I did add them to my Etsy shop today because I've made some before. So that's kind of why I am making a bunch again. So I have plenty in stock if they do sell from there. And I do them as little blind bags, so I thought, they're a fun little creature to get, and you don't know which one you're going to get. And I usually bag them up after I'm done with them, after they're baked, cooled, and I take pictures. And so I don't even know which ones I'm sending out when I send them. last October, I went and saw my family, and I was able to hand out some to them. Dree says it would be fun to hand out on birthdays at school. Yeah, it's Dree says, do you guys do that in the States? I honestly don't know what they do anymore. You know, since my kids are old. I know a lot of kids, like my coworkers, they'll have birthday parties, and people that come to the birthday parties, they will have like a party favor bag that'll be filled with a bunch of stuff. So that's, right now it just kind of looks like it's spotted hair, but I think I'll go ahead and bring it down and add a whole bunch more. Soften this piece up. So roll this out into a snake. Cut off little pieces. Just do them all random sizes. Dree says it's a big deal for the kids here what they hand out in school. It's getting crazier and crazier. It was just like a piece of cake literally at first. I know one thing that they do is they will take like snack, but then I've got relatives in like another state, and they're very particular, like you can't bring any homemade snacks. It has to be, you know, in a wrapper. And I understand keeping it safe, but it'd be nice to know you could trust the parents of other students, but Dree's asking healthy too. No, I don't think she said it had to be healthy. I think it just had to be pre-packaged. At least that was for, you know, her daughter's school. I'm not for sure what the rules are at other places. And even that's been probably 2 years now, so that could have changed. Andrew says, haha, it has to be healthier. That is more important here. I'm not disagreeing with it. Should be important. I do think I'm going to cut some of these even smaller to give me some spots to fill in. So I just kind of roll them out into a ball shaped, squish them down a little bit, and then attach them. It's the only thing bad about doing something that's kind of very repetitive when I'm doing a live stream is I don't really know what else to talk about. So keep that chat going. That'll at least give me some things to respond to. Dree says, I agree too. Parents still hand out whatever they want. If school won't enforce the rules, but point being, handing out some Wonky Weirdlings would be great. Yeah, no, I love the idea. And these guys, they're going to be fairly durable because they don't have any like little limbs or horns or anything sticking out that are going to break off. I mean, still wouldn't recommend for a small child, but one that was a little bit older that would still enjoy it, I think it would be okay for. All right, let's see here. If you hear some strange noises coming from the other room, my wife is working on some art projects there, and I know she's pouring some paint or mixing some paint. She does acrylic pour. Andrew says, now that's a hairdo on this little guy. Drew asked, do you guys art together? No, we don't. I know we've talked about it. Like I said, she does a lot of acrylic pour, and I've talked about even sculpting a monster out of Warbler and having her, try pouring over it and seeing how it looks, like it was kind of a slime monster. Even thought about it having coming out of a can. I got that idea from another artist. I've used up all my gold there, so I kind of want to finish this guy out and put some smaller ones around his facial details. All right. I don't know why I tore that. I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Cut off some extra sections here. So I want to do some smaller ones, so I'm going to cut these down. Dree says, well, inspired by you, my family does the monster part making I talked about before. That's great. All right, I'm hoping this should be enough. And I think to make it different, I might try some stripes on the one that's gold with silver. Definitely going to need some smaller ones to go. I want to put one in between here. Whoa, I just knocked that guy. Did you see that? Messed up his lip because I cut him with my fingernail. But look at there, he's fixed. Had to use the needle tool to kind of position that spot. I want to put another one that's a little bit smaller, not as small as that last one, so it'll fit underneath his other eye. All right. I've got a little room here, so I'll do another spot there. Andrea says, a crisis averted. Absolutely. Okay, I can do a little bit bigger along his jaw. And then I think I'll do the gold with silver one, and then probably call it a day on these guys. Drew says this guy would be the chaser in the blind bags, the shiny ones always are. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I do blind bags of my one-eyed blobs, and to make them a little more special, because I'll sell single ones at conventions as well. So kind of make the blind bag stand out, I put one glow-in-the-dark one in there. So every blind bag has a glow-in-the-dark blob, and that's the only way I sell them. But I don't charge any extra for the blind bags compared to, you know, buying them individually. Kujin says that's a good number of spots. Awesome work. Thank you. Thank you for the idea for the spots. All right, I think this one is done with the spots. I'm going to go ahead and clean my hands up so I could do its eyes. Give them some wonky eyes. So I'll put this with my other gold clay to do that next one. See, it's kind of shiny. Just getting cleaned up here. Get me a drink. Start on the eyeballs. It's definitely a lot of fun to make these guys today. Definitely looking forward to doing the live stream tomorrow with the Let's Make a Monster live stream. So this should work. Open up these eye sockets a little bit so I can drop these down in there. He says, me too. Awesome. There's his eyes. Go ahead and add the pupils. Trying to figure out how I want this guy, where I want his eyes looking. Got the first one like that. You do this one kind of looking over like that. Already had that one placed, but there it is. Does he look wonky enough? Drew says, haha, you got knocked on the head. He's like, donk. All right, so we got 5 done. Pretty happy with my progress. Amelia says, so cute. She said that sounded weird. Me? I often sound weird. Oh, no. What sounded weird? Just want to make sure this is nice and soft so it'll cover and smooth out when I put it over the foil. Oh, Drew says me saying he got knocked on the head. It sounded fine. I mean, other than the poor guy got knocked on his head. All right. He says was a bit Nelson-like. Sounds familiar, but I'm not for sure who Nelson is. Oh, like from The Simpsons. Okay, yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen The Simpsons. I know they're on Disney Plus, all like 30 plus seasons of it. So there's my gold all flattened out. My foil. Get it in the basic shape that I want. Get this all covered up. Cut off my excess here, so if I want to do some kind of lip or jaw or something for its mouth. So I should probably do that before I smooth it. Kujin asks, Andrew, on the clay, have you ever used paint pen or paint to color your clay creations? Yes. I've done some zombies actually, like a zombie Deadpool head and a zombie Boo from Dragon Ball Z, and I would give it a black wash and then gloss coat it to kind of protect it. I know my friend Rachel, who does Trino Nights, it's a YouTube channel, you guys should check that out. She has painted a lot of the eyes on hers. Now I don't paint the eyes, but like I said, I've given stuff a wash or something like that. I'm trying to think if I've done others. Now I've also, for those of you who don't know, I sculpt with Warbla, which is a thermoplastic, and it comes in a brown, but you can also get black and red and a translucent. And everything I make with that I paint. Either you give it a wash or paint the whole thing. But there's, if you check out my playlist for Warbla, they're in there. But what link are you wanting? Like a link to the... Oh, 1 second. Dree says, I'm super sorry, Andrew. I've got to go to bed. I'll watch the rest tomorrow. Hope I didn't talk too much. I've been craving human contact for weeks. Bye, everyone. No, Dree, perfect. No, I appreciate everybody chatting in here. Never apologize. You have a good night. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on tomorrow. Oh, Kujin says you're a friend YouTuber. Absolutely. Let me grab the chat here. I'm trying to remember if I can do that here. I thought you could do the little @ thing. Give me a second here. So you guys can kind of watch me do this, but Trino Nights. So she's got the little monster guy, plant monster from Mario as her picture. I'll hit share, copy link, see if this works. And I'm going to play her channel. That's not what I want to do. So I'm going to go back to my channel, back to that. Let's see if I can paste this. There, let me know if you can click on that, Kujin. I just put it in the chat. So, all right, let's go back to this guy. Definitely some air trapped in this one. So I'm actually going to cut a little slit here. I want to kind of smooth this clay in. I think I'm going to kind of rearrange it and make this the front. Yeah, that should work better. Get this all smoothed. Kujin says, just sub to Trino Nights. Awesome. Yeah, I've known her on Facebook probably, I'm going to guess 7 or 8 years. And I found her, you know, kind of through the polymer clay community, I guess. She does these really tiny little chibis, and I just like amazed at how tiny she makes some of her stuff. I think this guy is going to need a lot of eyes, just because it's something different. So I'm not going to do them too big. Now there's still that, it's still not tight against that foil. Kujin asks, where do you buy Worbla? I buy it from cosplaysupplies.com. That's the cheapest I've seen it, and they have free shipping. I know Amazon's had it, and there's some on Etsy. But at the moment, that's the cheapest I've found it. And I really like it because it's so durable. And like I said, it's on cosplaysupplies.com, so obviously a lot of cosplayers use it for armor or weapons. But I also like to use it for sculptures. I did make like a kind of a demon half mask out of it for doing a ninja, kind of a demon ninja cosplay, but I've never finished that cosplay. Warble is pretty expensive, but you don't have any waste, at least if you are careful. Because if you cut any off, you can use a heat gun to heat it up and kind of press it out and use it for other things. I've done a lot of Groots with Worbla. Kujin says, I recall hearing about it was with cosplayers. Yeah, and I mean, even when I started sculpting with it, I wasn't the first to sculpt, like, you know, creatures and stuff, but I mean, there wasn't a lot, like if you do a Google search, and I mean, there's a lot of everything when you do a Google search. Okay, now I want to see what I want to do for the mouth. I feel like I want to do something different. I like this one that's more open. This is one of my earlier ones. P Stuff says, what is Worbla, a sculpting thing? Sorry, I got distracted. Short answer, piece of it's a sheet of thermoplastic, and you heat it up with a heat gun, and you can sculpt with it and paint it. But a lot of cosplayers will use it to make armor and weapons. But if you want to know more, I'm going to plug my other videos here. I have a playlist down below that's What is Warbla, or a Warbla playlist, I should say. And it has a What is Warbla, then it has some of my Warbla creations in it. So definitely check that out. I've done like a Necronomicon, which is from Evil Dead. I've done a life-size Swamp Thing bust that I did over a mannequin head. I've done the Piranha Plant from Mario. A lot of different things. It's a lot of fun to work with, and it's, to me, when I was getting ready for some conventions a few years ago, I had a lot of problems with my hands just being sore all the time. And so now that I do Warbla and clay and needle felting, it gives them a little bit of a break. It changes up, they don't get as wore out. So I'm going to cut out a mouth for this guy. Still not for sure what I'm doing, but I'm just going to wing it until I'm happy with it. So I'm using the ball tool. P-Stubbs has suggestion, make him an upside down smile with 2, 3 teeth fangs. Okay, so give him kind of like a frown type. And then do you want the fangs to alternate, like, 1, 2, 3? I don't know if that makes sense. I should draw it here. So like 1, and then the bottom one, and then the top one. So I dug it out, and I indented the foil a little bit, and I want to cover that foil back up. So I've got a really thin piece, but it won't go as far out as the rest of the gold. So that should work. P-Stuff says all under their bottom lip would be cool. It says also, yeah, I forgot the word frown existed. No worries. I can give him a frown. Give myself enough room to put those in there. All right, and that'll get a little more definition to it when I'm going to add a lip area. So I want to find some small fangs. It's not a very big mouth. So I've got these little guys. One's a little bigger, but should still work, unless I find some other small ones. I could take actually that one and cut it in half. And I'll trim a little bit off at this one. So let's see here. Do just a little bit of indentions, and I'm hoping I can put these guys in here. This might be a little tricky. Gotta concentrate here. I just dropped that one in there, so I'm going to use this needle tool to move it around. doesn't want to cooperate. I'm going to make that hole a little bit bigger. Stuff says like crooked or frown, or yeah, okay frown or frown. It's almost going in there. Oh, crooked or frown. Yeah, okay, got it. I should do some clay orcs in my own style. Should do a whole line of fantasy creatures, actually. That'd be fun. Almost had it in there. Got a little bit of shiny there, and I can't tell if that is foil peeking through or just the shiny from the gold. I'm going to bring this one out and down a little bit if I can, so I can put that lip on there. He is not wanting to cooperate. Probably making matters worse because now I've got this big opening there. We're going to give it a try. So I'm going to go in with my ball tool and try to go behind. I think I might take a little bit of clay and drop in there. Now I'm just taking that ball tool behind that tooth and smoothing that in a little bit, giving it some texture, make it blend in. And then I can kind of straighten that tooth out a little bit, but not too much, because he's a wonky weirdling. I do want to bring this one forward. I've distorted my eye socket a bit. All right, so that's what I got so far. I'm gonna go ahead and do at least an upper lip, if not a lower one too, and then I'll add the stripes and the eyes. I don't know what I'm doing with that. It's kind of been a longer session here, guys, so I appreciate everybody who's stopped by. Cut that off. I think I'm going to take this ball tool and bring this up a little bit. Peace Tev says, please tell me you're going to give him a big unibrow. Well, I hadn't really thought about it, but this almost looks more like a mustache than a lip here. So I am going to go in, kind of connect this here at the in its mouth. kind of sunk in here, and I was trying to get that over there. He still says he looks like an angry sheriff. So I'm going to just try to match that indentation on the other side. This one was accidental, so I'll make this one on purpose. Exposed a little bit of foil underneath. So put a little bit of more gold clay on there. Alright, I don't think he needs a lower lip, but I do want to add just a slight indentation underneath. Just to give him a little more depth in that area. And I'm going to pull out my little rubber tip tool there that helps with smoothing. Just going to smooth a little bit there at the indentation I did at the lip. Now I'm going to take my needle tool and do some little marks on here, which actually makes it look more like a mustache now. I guess people can perceive it to be whatever they want. Go ahead and roll out some clay for big unibrow. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to mix in a little bit of black clay to darken this up. So I'm just going to mix this. Going to see the black clay's already kind of disappeared in there. But I just thought it'd be nice if I give him that unibrow, has a little more contrast with it. But I still wanted to look like it all kind of belonged together, in keeping with that metallic look on it. It's getting a little bit darker. Another piece in there. Get these mixed together. A little chunk went flying off. Almost hit that finished Wonky Weirdling up here. Things are getting wild. Notice this guy has this extra little piece here. So I thought about doing stripes of silver, but I think the way he looks, I think he might look better if I just do some spots on him, but I'm going to do big spots just to make him a little more different and, to be honest with you, take less time. I've been sculpting for a couple hours now and going to need a little bit of a break. I'll go ahead and get these guys baked. It's a little bit thicker than I want. Art with April says hello. Hello, April. How are you? This is just kind of a random live stream today of making some of my Wonky Weirdlings. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to press this in. And then I'm going to texture it. Texture the heck out of it. P-Stuff says maybe make him a U-shaped eyebrow over his middle eye. I kind of did an eyebrow over all of them. And Art with April says I might have to leave at random because my parents want me to do something. That's totally fine. I'm going to finish this guy up. Just adding some texture to his unibrow. Try not to go in too far with the needle tool so I don't hit the lighter gold. But I want to get this edge here too. April says, or want me to eat because I haven't yet. Like all day? I had lunch a little before the live stream, but I'm already hungry again, so blaming Kujin for going to get food and not getting it for everybody. Or make food. Texturing lots of times really enhances a sculpture, but it can take a lot of time. At least when you do stuff like this. Oh, April says I woke up at 1, so it isn't that bad. Ah. Yeah, so you haven't been starving 6 a.m. Now I'm just going over doing some really firm presses to give it some depth to it. I'm happy with the detail, but I want to still have a lot of different depths to this brow. Bring that up there. Line it up with the camera a little better. See, I've got a delay on my screen, so if you see me going off camera and in camera, that's why. Pisto says, angry five-eyed orc sheriff. Well, golly, partner. April says she ate a lot of snacks around 12:01 last night. Ah. Okay, so I'm going to clean up a little bit so I can do the silver. I'm not worried too much about color transfer since it's just another metallic to a... going from one metallic to another. Still don't want to have too much. So I've got my silver here. Another little piece here if I need it. I think I'm just going to give it kind of a big spot with a few smaller ones. So April asks, so what did I miss? Well, April, I'm working on my Wonky Weirdlings. I just added them to my Etsy shop. So I wanted to make some more. So these are all ones I've made on today's stream. These two are ones I've made before. And the Wonky Weirdlings, I use about an ounce of clay, and I use 1 sheet of foil, the Reynolds wrap foil, for inside the body. But once this video is, the live stream's done, the video will be up on my channel if you want to check out how I made the other ones. Also, there's a Wonky Weirdlings video on my YouTube channel. It's a little bit quicker, that's edited, than I did when I first tried making them. Even goes into a little more of the history of them. Believe it or not, there is a history with them. They're kind of an advanced form of my one-eyed blobs. So I've got this big silver piece there. Now I'm going to do a few smaller ones. Press these out and get them placed on the sculpture. I do think I want to do at least 2 more, one here and one here. I just think it would look good going around that, but I know I don't want to do them too big there. B-Stuff says this Wonky Weirdling looks like he started every sentence with, "Well, back in my day." We had to heat our polymer clay sculptures over an open fire. All right, yeah, I definitely like how that turned out. Now let's make some eyes. So I'll go ahead and clean my hands one more time. Get all that metallic off there, or at least I hope so. I always seem to have a little bit of residue left from some previous color when I go to switch to a lighter color. The glow in the dark will pick up a lot, but not as much as white or like a yellow. Those pigments seem to be really bad. April says that sounds like something they did back in the 17 to 1800s, but I don't know. I don't even know when polymer clay came out, like when it was discovered that you could bake this clay thing. All right, he's got so many eyes, they're pretty small. So I don't want to do too big with these little balls here. P-Stuff says, "We'd roast our clay on the open fire like true men." April says it was most likely just clay back then because they did have bowls and plates. Yeah. I don't know if that clay was, if that air dried. I dug it up and let it, shape it and let it dry out. I should do some research on that today. Yep, P-Stuff says, well, pottery dates way back to the Egyptians. Yeah, but we all know the pyramids were built by aliens. Right? Isn't that the story? April says I will just be bored. Oh, no, sorry. April says I will because I'm bored after the stream. Start giving you assignments, April, so you can like inform us on the next stream. Then you'll be like, I don't miss school anymore. B-Stuff says the pyramids were built by weirdlings. Yes, Wonky Weirdlings built the pyramids. New conspiracy theory. Thousands of them. They're just like... You can find remains of them smashed under some of the rocks that didn't get out before they lowered them down. April says, oh my god, yes, assignments. Just going to roll out a little black clay for pupils. And I'm trying to stay in tune with everything still and focus on what I'm doing, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I am running out of steam, guys. This was a long stream for me. Just getting all the little pupils placed. April says next time I'll report back. Perfect. Thank you, April. P-Stuff says, release the horde. Thousands of weirdlings slide across the ground like slugs in a big pack. Just a giant wave of them. Alright guys, there's the final Wonky Weirdling for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, I will be back on tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Let's Make a Monster live stream. Anybody watching this or re-watching this doesn't know what that is, it's where I make a monster. I pre-decide what my color is going to be so I can get that ready. But then I let the viewers decide on number of eyes, if it has horns, what kind of teeth, any kind of little attributes of the monster, and before we're done, we decide on a name for the monster. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this very long live stream. Hope you guys are all staying safe. Have an awesome day, and I hope I see most of you, or all of you. I hope I see all of you back tomorrow, but I understand if not everybody can make it. So alright. Remember, never stop creating. Bye.